Allocation and Fiscal Commission to increase their shares of the federal allocation. Representatives of the two tiers of government made the request during the program organized by RMAFC in Abuja. The National Deputy President of the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, Shehu Jaga, stressed the need for higher allocation for local governments while asking for representation in the Federation Account Allocation Committee. Still about sharing formula.
What do you get and what can I get?
Yes.
So
it's rather unfortunate. And that is why we, over the years, have been crying that the system, the constitution we are operating presently is not working. That is why we have said there is a need for us to review the constitution. The 1999 constitution, as amended, that was handed over to us by the military. We, the people of Nigeria, who are the we? How many of us came together to put that? AY, the present revenue allocation formula is federal government 52.68%.
majority share.
Yes. State government, all the states, 36 states put together, including FCT, 26.72. The 774 local governments in Nigeria, 20.0%. Then we have the derivation formula, which is 30%. And you ask yourself, what is the federal government we doing with 52.68% of the revenue of the country? When development is supposed to be within the states and the local government area. That is why
Does that represent the spirit of true
that is it,
federalism?
of course. That is true. That is what it's supposed to be. Then secondly, the state governments have also stifled the local governments.
Because they operate a joint account.
Because they operate a joint account, which is why most of them were against the constitution. Which is why most of them were against the constitutional amendment, which wanted to give autonomy to the local government. After the National Assembly had passed that
Still lying there.
it went to the states because there wants to be a concurrent between the national legislation and the state, at least 2/3 of the states.
President Buhari tried with his executive order.
The governors stood their ground and told the state houses of assembly, if you dare try, and that was it. So if the Argonne and the rest are going to RMF, the first thing remains is still a constitutional matter. The RMF can swear just say, okay, we are just, let us do a little bit. Until the National Assembly was able to pass that law, and we have concurrent in the state houses. It's just like the creation of states. Since the military left, do you know that no single state has been created in Nigeria?
There's no agreement.
Very difficult.
No single one.
Very difficult.
But this is what Abacha woke up and say, I have created 19 states and decreed. IBB woke up and said, I've moved from 12 to 19 or whatever, and that was it. Since the advent of civilians, in fact, I would say since 1979,
Yeah,
not even 1990, since 1979, no single civilian government have been able, because of the lacuna we have in the constitution.
Okay, Ada is calling us from Jos, Plateau State.
Good evening, journalist hangout.
Thank you for staying with us, Ada.
I want to talk about this ranching thing. You know, why can't they borrow a leaf from Ganduje? You should see the day they showed his ranch, he has a very vast area of land. And then he did it in such a way that, in fact, they have a school there, they have a clinic for the cows. The cows they are open grazing, but it's restricted, you know. Even when they interviewed the headers there, they were regretting. They said they didn't know they have been suffering all this while. Even I got to a point, you have to send some people abroad to go and study how to make them. Very soon now you see their IGR will increase. And then it is leadership. When I was surprised when Buhari said on television that grazing routes is the way to go. How can you be talking about grazing routes now? One of the guests there was talking about grazing routes. You know where they used to be, and how can you know where they used to be again? There's population explosion now. It's not the same again. Ranching is the best way out. You know why the Benue is having problem is that they didn't cheat with even the adjoining state. They didn't cheat. They're making mockery of
Thank you, Ada.
And that's why the headers are.
Thank you for your contribution. Talking about the Fago Forests project by...
And there are so many of such forests.
So, coming to revenue allocation now, and he's talking about constitutional amendment and looking at the share of the federal government, the 54%.
Where you will even start from is the fact that the local governments are not represented on the Revenue and Allocation Committee. That's to tell you.
How would they fight for in their interest?
Not represented.
Because there are some states, the Commissioner for Finance, you know, they are going to
His
will fight
interest to
some
be
things
the
out.
state.
That's it.
Yes,
His
yes,
interest
they
to be the state, not the local government. But the local government as a body is not represented where these decisions are taken. That is one. Two, the constitutionality of it all is that we are operating a system that comes from top to bottom.
Unitary system of government.
And until we change it, the local government will continue to suffer. If you look at it, the bulk of the job in the real sense of it is with the local government.
Yeah.
It's with the 774 of them, followed by the 36 states. The federal government, but for some roads declared as federal road, how many are those? Are they up to 52.4%
They are even being
of
maintained
roads?
by most of the state governments.
Most times,
Yes.
state government do these roads and wait for years
for
to
them
be
to be paid,
refunded.
Yeah.
Are we going to say, let's take road, for example. The roads in Nigeria, 100%. Is the federal government owning 52-point-something% of those roads? If the answer is no,
Former Governor Mosu will say that we don't have federal people.
we have to, we are not
About the expenses.
good. No, what I'm trying to establish is if we all know that in the area of obligation, you don't have 50%. Why you have 50% of the finance? If he talks about schooling, education, how many federal schools do we have? Is it up to 52-point-something% of all the schools in Nigeria?
Hospitals.
Hospitals? Are you telling me you have 52-something% federal hospitals? Markets? Let's name it. You see, this argument is very, very clear that the federal government has no business commanding or controlling the resources, the amount of resources going to it from the federal purse. Having said that, what can be done? Constitutionalism. It is to go and amend the Constitution in a manner that would simplify functions and rights, entitlement of each unit of our government. The states perform so functions. Let's look at it. Oh, so they do this much. Then let what comes to them be commensurate. By the time you look at what local government is expected to do, you'll understand that, like CKN said, they've been suffering. And then the expectations of the average people is more in the direction of the local government, because these are the government we see every day.
Closer to the people.
So we should give them, we should empower them to deliver on the expectations of the people.
AY, by the 1999 Constitution as amended, we have the exclusive list, we have the concurrent list. Within the concurrent list, you see a situation where both the state government and federal government are. Let me give you a classical example. The federal government is in charge of the police. But you come to realize that the resources of maintaining those mostly come from the state. It's from this 20-something% to. That's where it's coming from, not from the 50%.
Yes.
And you ask yourself, what is happening? So, and I personally also feel that, in as much as the Constitution, that is why we also look at issues where we should allow the state to look at some of these resources within their domain so that they can be able to increase their IGR.
Yeah.
Okay. Why should I say that everything in the state on ground or whatever belongs to federal government?
They must first go before it
comes
trickles down. It trickles down.
That is the problem.
All right, I'm afraid we have to leave it there. Dari Otufokon, thank you for your contribution. And Chris Kendi Wando, thank you for your outing today.
Anyway, don't ask me what I posted before again.
Okay. We'll go and check it out. Chris Kendi Wando.